In my opinion, we had previously warned our European and American partners that Russia would deploy Oreshnik on Belarusian territory. We showed the distance Oreshnik would cover. This is a threat to many European countries, including Poland, Germany, and other nations. We showed them this. Oreshnik cannot be shot down by drones at this moment. They have used Oreshnik across the territory of Ukraine.
Without Ukraine's rightful place, without the independence of our sovereign state, Moscow will inevitably come here, and then it will advance further into Europe.
Without our independence, Moscow will, beyond any doubt, come for Poland.
Of Western Europe, Russia, through its aggressive actions, is actively destroying the established international order, flagrantly trampling upon the fundamental principles of international law, and has been consistently influencing the destabilization of political systems in numerous countries for many, many years now. We have been and are aware of this in Poland beyond military actions, and I say this as the president of Poland. We daily observe hybrid activities, violations of airspace, violations, attacks on Polish infrastructure, orchestrated with the assistance of agents from the Russian Federation. We are experiencing this in Poland and across all of Europe. Therefore, it is natural, and it comes as no surprise, that Poland, and also the President of Poland, we are consistently supporting at all diplomatic forums the imposition of sanctions against Russia. We support strikes on the Shadow Fleet, a topic that is being discussed even in Poland among various international formats. It is also being discussed with the Baltic countries and the Scandinavian countries. We are fully supportive of the transfer of the frozen Russian assets, their transfer across all possible diplomatic platforms and arenas, and we also strongly advocate for all forms of diplomatic pressure to be exerted upon Russia. I support this. The Polish president does this, but the Polish government also does this, like the president of Poland and the president of the United States. Mr. Trump, who will also be doing this with Ukraine's full participation and taking into consideration the interests of the entire region. We are fully aware that Donald Trump is the only head of state in the world who ready to make Vladimir Putin sign a peace agreement.
Yesterday, the European Union adopted a historic decision for Ukraine concerning its financial security guarantees. This decision gives Ukraine financial certainty for the coming years. Poland's Macron has supported us, and for that we are truly grateful. If Russia continues to drag out this war, and these are precisely the signals the entire world hears from Moscow, they continue to threaten us. We will use funds for defense, specifically if they persist in continuing the war. If the global community successfully compels Russia to finally embrace peace, we will then commit these significant funds exclusively towards the comprehensive reconstruction of our beloved nation. Currently, Russian assets are still immobilized and frozen within Europe.
It is no secret to anyone that in matters concerning the coalition of the willing, we are represented by Prime Minister Donald Tusk, and this is due to various reasons, a domain into which I, as President, do not delve, also taking into account Prime Minister Tusk's many years of relationships with the leaders of European nations. And this is better for these negotiations. And as President Zelensky mentioned, he has already participated there 12 times. I was not aware of this particular figure, but I also uphold the principle that clearly derives from our constitution, which is to represent Poland on the international stage, and Alwa.
As for the MiGs, we've talked about them so much. We were grateful. We initially said we would be grateful for Poland's offer to supply MiGs. I want to explain what Ukraine's interest is. When you're fighting a war on a daily basis, every single pilot is a critically scarce resource. And the training and preparation of a pilot takes many, many years. And the real issue isn't that we don't possess
F-16s, even if they're not the newest models, but simply that we don't have them at all. That's not the main point.
So you take an experienced pilot from the battlefield, from the war, and send him abroad. You spend a year, maybe 8 months, or even a year and a half, depending on the pilot's experience, so that this pilot can return on an F-16 to fight against Russia.
The difference between these F-16s and MiGs for us is simply about not losing our pilots, because there's no need for us to train on MiGs as our people are already well trained. This was precisely the core of our request. The issue isn't a shortage of aircraft. The real problem lies in the deficit of pilots. Well, for us, as of today, this truly represents a significant victory.
It is 90 billion. Without them, it would have been incredibly difficult for us. Truly hard. And you understand this perfectly well. 45 billion in interest-free credit. This is tied to Russian reparations in any case. Absolutely. These are important steps. The fact that European leaders found such a format and that our team worked with Europe on a positive solution, that's a strengthening for us.
This is a signal to the Russians that there is no point for them to continue fighting because we are financially supported, and that means we will not crumble on the front. Yes, we will certainly support our army, undoubtedly, and our people. Our budget is supported by 45 billion in 2026, precisely from these funds. And well, this is a positive. There are no positive results in war, but today this is an important positive signal for our society.
Certainly, Poland has been in a state of hybrid warfare with the Russian Federation and with Belarus for many years now. A hybrid war, I must emphasize this, involving hybrid attacks and constant pressure on the Polish eastern border with Belarus. The destruction of Polish infrastructure, drone attacks on the night of September 9th to 10th. We are not the only European Union state that experiences these kinds of practices from the Russian Federation.
The relocation of Oreshnik to the territory of Belarus is being completed. We understand.
And where will it be? Where exactly will the deployment take place? We are conveying this information to our international partners. I believe our partners themselves are fully capable of assessing this threat and understanding how they should appropriately respond to it. In my opinion, we had previously warned our European and American partners that Russia would deploy Oreshnik on Belarusian territory. We showed the distance Oreshnik would cover. This is a threat to many European countries, including Poland, Germany, and other nations. We showed them this. Oreshnik cannot be shot down by drones at this moment. They have used Oreshnik across the territory of Ukraine. We understand how to fight this. We have requested that our partners impose sanctions against companies which are located both on the European continent and on other continents. These are companies that are selling components through third countries, components that are ultimately intended for the Oreshnik missile system. Without these crucial components, Russia simply cannot develop the production of the Oreshnik missile. Poland welcomed a great many Ukrainians after the full-scale invasion began. We are truly grateful for this invaluable support. We clearly remember how that difficult period unfolded. There are at times quite challenging moments within our respective societies.
But we as presidents must define a policy that truly supports and holds us together. Without Ukraine's rightful place, without the independence of our sovereign state, Moscow will inevitably come here, and then it will advance further into Europe.
Without our independence, Moscow will, beyond any doubt, come for Poland. And that's why it's so important that we exist. It's important that you exist. It is critically important that Ukraine and Poland exist. And it's vital that we stand together. If our partners, including the United States and other nations, are making significant diplomatic efforts to bring about an end to this war, can they similarly pressure Russia not to deploy Oreshnik closer to Europe, closer to the Polish border? I believe this is something that absolutely must be addressed.
Otherwise, it's difficult to understand what and why Russia is attacking American air defense systems on Ukrainian territory. Why then do partners not draw conclusions regarding threats in Belarus, which the Russian Federation will control? Undoubtedly, the Russian Federation, just like the missiles on the very first night, you remember, of the full-scale invasion, those missiles that killed our people, they flew into our country, they flew from Belarus and from Belarus as well.